Yo, GM, everybody, how we doing? Ooh, mic's a little loud. Can you guys can you hear me, Ardo?
Everyone do the same. Welcome to Web3 Breakfast on a Wednesday.
It is your hump day breakfast. Hopefully you brought your appetite. My mic seems a little loud today. Does it seem a little loud? Definitely was a little loud in my ear. Maybe I got the monitor up a little bit. But GM, everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is Wednesday, March 8th, 10 o'clock on the East Coast here in the U.S. Looking forward to today's conversation. Got some things to get through in just a second. We are, if this is your first time hanging out with us, we are live streaming on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So if you want to watch the video, you absolutely can. If Twitter is not your thing, you can check that out. We'll get a link posted up here in just a second. But GM, everybody, what a week we've been having so far. A lot of fun price action in the crypto game. ETH, some swings, some movements this morning. If you guys were listening yesterday, I dipped my toes back into the leverage trading water. Made a couple shekels. Lost a couple shekels this morning. But that's the way the game goes. We're doing this 500 to 5K challenge on the leverage trading account. So right now we're at like $496. So we made some money, but then we lost some money. But hey, we're still in the game. We are practicing great risk management, better risk management than I've had in the past. I know that I posted a picture of 100x leverage yesterday. I promise you, I did not trade at 100x. I wouldn't do that except for on a live stream when everyone's watching for a very short period of time. All right, let's hop into some of our house cleaning really quick before we get into the show. Let's look at the coinmarketcap.com website. Global crypto market cap down 1.2% today. So things are looking red in some way, shape, and form over the last several days. But currently in the last 24 hours, we've got a little bit of green in the last hour. So we'll see how the day shapes up. Anything notable in the last 24? You got Bone Shiba Swap up 24%. XRP, I got to tell you, I think that some people know stuff about XRP. To see this thing up, 3% when everything's down multiple percents this week, somebody might have some information. So do your research. Start looking into XRP. I know a lot of people don't like it, but if you're here to make money, there's probably some pretty big gains to make in there. We were talking about ETH. Look at, if you guys are, actually, I don't have that pulled up. I got the screen pulled up with my phone on the live stream. But if you guys look at the ETH chart today, that's my fault. I'm on the 3 minute. That's what happens when you're a degen, right? You change that thing from either the hourly, the 4 hourly, or the daily over to the 3 minute. All right, let's get out of that. And then really quick, NFTgo.io. We talked about this yesterday. We actually talked about this on the Crypto Stash channel. Him and I do a Tuesday afternoon live stream called NFT Beat. And we were talking about this. You guys are no stranger to this in this show. We look at this market barometer sentiment every single day. It's at 35 again. We saw this thing up as high as 51 about a week ago. But when we first started tracking this at 10, several months ago. So with that fluctuation, with the ups and downs, that's obviously a healthy market. So we'll take this 35. Maybe you can get into a project that you didn't think you can get into before. Maybe that price point's gone down a little bit. Always be looking out for the things you want to get into, the communities you want to be a part of. Find your buying opportunities and take that. Okay. With that being said, GM, everybody got the fam in the house today. Thank you. Make sure we retweet the room, get some more friends in here. What I want to talk about, this is something that kind of been bothering me a little bit over the last the last week, the news cycle. We are in that part of the market cycle where the news is not really good. You're just seeing a lot of price predictions come out. You're not really seeing a lot of meat and potatoes. I think a lot of projects are, with a lot of partnerships. Now, there are some news things. Obviously, the Amazon thing was massive. We have seen some really other big articles coming out, but it's like maybe one a day kind of thing. It's not like your typical news cycle where you're going to see a lot of heavy hitting articles, a lot of partnersps, agreements, all that kind of stuff. I think we're kind of slowed down a little bit. So what do people do? If you're in this ecosystem like we are every single day, what do you do? One, to keep educating yourself if the news is not there. And two, to stay positive, because if it's all just bearish price action, if it's all just price predictions that end up being bearish, how do you keep yourself positive?
Look, for one, you definitely got to ignore the news, right? This is that time to quote unquote buy the rumor. The news that's bad that you're seeing come out, half of it is an attempt to lower prices enough for entry points, right? We've seen this several times with entities that are in the space now that were fudding the absolute hell out of it before. And that was to get the prices low enough so that they could get good entries. Look, they're very well versed on knowing how much news can influence the retail consumer, right? So that has a big weight on it. Right now, this is the time to ignore the news, look at the rumors, look at what's being built, dollar cost average in, and if you plan on, trying to hop into some future big trades, then learn from some of the best. Web3 Breakfast brings in some of the best. Jay Chains is experienced at it. Mind Your Biz has a show about it. Learn from the best and get the gains with the rest.
I like that. Learn with the best and get them gains like the rest. There we go. GM, everybody. Did I see another hand up? Was it Crypto? You had your hand up? Crypto Zay?
Yeah, top of the morning, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, Final Frontier kind of covered a bit of what I was going to allude to, is that like news for me now have just become a signal of either bear or bull. And of course, too, there are tactics of which they are bringing down the price or bringing the boat back so they can hop on. Right now, how I combat that is simply focusing or going directly to the projects or cryptos or whatever, going directly to their Medium or their articles, or seeing what it is that they're actually working on directly, because most of those updates or new things from those projects that you believe in oftentimes don't make it to the airways, don't make it to the mainstream type of news. So the way I utilize mainstream news is just a signal on, hey, if it start turning completely positive and start pumping and you start seeing the inflow of newbies coming in based off of those headlines, it means that I have my exit liquidity to start dumping on folks.
No,
It sounds bad. That's the cycle,
No, I mean it's a great point, and with the mainstream news and why you're not seeing as much, right? Do you think that projects, they're not going to see the ROI having to pay to do the press releases, to get the articles out there, because whether you like it or not, like that, it's all pay to play, right? To get your information out there, and so I don't think that a lot of these projects are going to see the ROI. So they're just not going to invest in it right now because the attention's not there, right? And we saw that, if you were part of, I'm part of the crypto class of 2017. And so what we saw was the ICO craze, where you saw these companies take in millions of dollars, 30 millions, 100 million, something like that, right? And they never spent a dime on marketing. And then you saw a lot of those projects die off. But now, and at that point, like any project that did do marketing, literally you could put out a press release saying I farted, and your project would go up at like 10,000%, right? It was literally anything that you got in the news for, the project would rip. And that's how it worked back then. Now it's not the same. Like we don't have the attention right now. We don't have any of that. So, with that being said, I don't, paying to get these articles into the mainstream is not going to reap the rewards. So projects are not doing it. So I love what you're saying. Like if you want to do your research, if you want to find those, those gems, like you literally do have to get in the Discord. You have to be in Twitter Spaces. You have to be reading threads and posts and all that shit in order to figure out what's actually happening.
Yeah, you got to grind, and I think it was a Crypto Zay who made a great point. He brought up the boat, right? I've heard Ben say it. I've heard Mind Your Biz say it. I've heard Jay Chain say it. It really comes down to, again, that third currency relationships. When whales miss the boat, their buddies turn the boat around and pick them up. I'll say that again. When whales miss the boat, their buddies turn it around and pick them up.
Yep.
And so when you also look at the construct of the market, if you're new to this game, you need to understand that Bitcoin is the same, but things around it have changed. If you look back to the last bear market, okay, or the last bull run, stable coins were not a thing, right? DeFi was not a thing. Web3 gaming was not a thing. NFTs were new. Nobody knew about them. CryptoPunks were free to mint. And then I think there was like Crypto Kitties.
Yep.
And that was it, right? So when you wanted to get Bitcoin, there was one direct way to get it, not through stable coins. When you wanted altcoins, you had to trade your Bitcoin for them. So your Ethereum, your Solana, your Binance, all these big tokens that do have a good part of dominance in the market, they are tied to Bitcoin and its liquidity. And therefore, when Bitcoin makes a huge movement, they do too, and subsequently the tokens on their ecosystem. So back then, when Bitcoin pumped, the altcoins didn't pump right with it because they were tied to it in its liquidity. And in order for the altcoin season to happen, Bitcoin had to crash. And so that was everyone selling their Bitcoin to get into the altcoins because that was the only way to do it. Now it's different. They have detached themselves because the stable coin is in the middle. You no longer need Bitcoin to buy the altcoins. You no longer have to give your altcoins up to push it into Bitcoin. In some cases, you can even just use a debit card now, right? Like on crypto.com or Coinbase. So that part of the game has changed. And if you don't understand that, you better learn it because the altcoin season couldn't happen until there was the crash in Bitcoin. So if you're waiting on a crash of Bitcoin for altcoin season to start, you're going to miss that boat.
That's so true. You can actually go to and to back that up, and then we'll go to whoever was next. I heard somebody about to go, but you can go on to CoinMarketCap, and up at the top, like you can click on where it says Bitcoin dominance, in ETH dominance, and you can scroll down and you can actually look like over the history of time what that that ratio was. Where I mean, obviously, like before altcoins were even a thing, Bitcoin was the dominant player for many years, and then once we got to that 2017 timeframe, that's when you start to see this, the change, right? And Bitcoin went from like 85% dominant to the low was 38, which basically is where we are right now. And I think we're seeing the same levels of the Ethereum dominance. And then obviously there's a lot more altcoins that have joined the ecosystem since then. But I mean, it's really interesting to see, like, pretty much right when I hopped in the game in 2017, we're like almost at the exact same point right now between the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance. Interesting.
Yes, sir. I totally wanted to second what you guys were just talking about, because not only understanding the market cycles, but how the inflow of money goes into these assets. Like you were saying, Final Frontier. Who's actually behind the account? 'Cause I keep calling you Final Frontier. Well, we'll keep it at that for now. We'll
Ardo,
talk about that offline.
you
But
can call him Ardo.
yes,
Commander Ardo.
Ardo. All right, great. The inflow of money was exactly that. You would have cash go into Bitcoin, Bitcoin go into the alts, and then back into cash, that whole cycle. But now that you've introduced like a USDT that is frankly doing more volume than Bitcoin, well, I mean, reported volume, let's be frank, than Bitcoin, there's now these inflows straight into these altcoins that you now have to kind of change up your strategy around it. Because that was part of my strategy in the beginning. Simply, hey, take my USD, go into Bitcoin first, and then start dabbling into the alts to have them push. But also, I do think a lot of people need to understand the market dominance and understand how it correlates with the price of the assets, and seeing overall like how things have changed and decoupled over the past couple of years, and you could always add charts on top of one another so you can see where the inflow of money between Bitcoin, USDT, and any other altcoin that you want to compare, where that's coming from and how much of it is flowing into those assets, so you can properly set up your strategy to go along with that. Because if right now I try the same strategy of waiting for Bitcoin to either stabilize at a particular price point or crash down in order for those profits being taken to move into altcoins, well, I'm already seeing more and more altcoins that will pump or move forward, move first before Bitcoin even pumps. So it's telling me that there's another on ramp into those altcoins, like the stables, that folks are utilizing, meaning that they're bypassing going into Bitcoin first. So got to adjust the strategy accordingly.
Absolutely. It's all about reacting and adapting, and especially in a fast-paced, high volatile situation like crypto, Web3, and blockchain, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, and again, you know, if when you talk about like being tied in its liquidity, if you go to exchanges like a KuCoin or Gate and something like that, and you go to purchase a token, it tells you what the pairs are. Those pairs are tied to that token in liquidity. So if you see, for instance, BTC ETH, it means that in order to purchase that Ethereum, you are purchasing it with your Bitcoin, right? Or if it says ETH BTC, it means you are selling your ETH to purchase Bitcoin. So this is what makes these tokens tied together um, in their liquidity, and that creates liquidity pools. So what'll happen on some ecosystems when they want to list on like a DEX or something like that, uh, they may have to do it with that blockchain's token, meaning that the pair will be starting out with Solana, or it'll be starting out with Ethereum, and then others may add to it. Sometimes that comes in the form of VCs. You really don't see it come in the form of retail. But another thing that's interesting, J Chains, that people don't understand is a lot of things with bricks projects in the bear market is their listings actually, right? This is something that a lot of people don't know. These exchanges aren't always for you, because once you list, they're making you pay monthly fees in order to stay listed, or they deactivate your token. So a lot of times people are thinking that the project is dying out, and it's not the project dying out. It's just that they can't afford to keep up with a massive monthly cost of keeping the token active on top of the listing that they were charged. And listing fees can be anywhere from $5,000 to millions. I have people ask me all the time, oh, well, why won't you list a token on Coinbase? Well, for one, it's political. For two, do you have $3.5 million to give us to give to Coinbase for that listing?
Yeah. Hey, I can tell you, anybody, if you're affiliated with a project and you got $5.5 million, I can get you on all top 3 exchanges right now. That's the price to get on all top 3. 5.5 million. And that does include a little finder's fee for me, by the way, but you want it, just ask. Sometimes we've got to expose some of these things in the industry, right? It is pay to play. I said it earlier. The whole world, whether you like it or not, the whole world is pay to play. So learn the game and play the game. That's all. I think at some point we all just realize, like, shit, this is a game. We're being played. Stop getting played and start playing the game.
Yeah, you have to. And on top of that, what retail needs to do is focus on learning, right? For one, do not get in a Discord and asking a team or the founders, hey, what are you going to do about the price of the token? Well, for one, that's very illegal.
Yeah.
It's called market manipulation, and it's called insider trading, and a whole list of other things that are going to get that team thrown in federal jail. So please do not ask teams what they're going to do about the price of their token. That's why when they release it to an exchange, it's up to you as the retail investor to do something about the price of the token. How about stop dumping it?
Yeah, and that will forever be the biggest challenge that that these tokens have, especially with retail. Because if you've not ever been involved in a private sale, if you don't know how the allocations work, all of that, literally the VCs, the guys, like, if you get a chance to invest in a project before they launch, right, like in a private sale, you're not gonna buy a whole ton, like maybe a couple $1,000s worth, like that's all you'll get allocated. And so what you got to do is worry about these VC guys that are literally getting millions and millions of dollars of allocations. The moment that they get the unlock, and typically those guys will get it before anybody else, that's how you see that price go from like launch, like that big green dildo candle that everybody loves, to like, oh my God, why is this so red so fast? It's because the VC guys dump their tokens immediately. They don't give a shit about anything about the project. All they want to do is get their money back. That's it.
Jay, I wanted to add on to what Final Frontier said, if I could.
Absolutely,
you brought
man.
this up. Yeah, no, thank you. And GM, everybody, GM. Ardo, you brought that up. The whole, the whales, they turn the boat around to help their friends. I think you're scarily right. I actually I see this whole news cycle right now as basically just a whole, hey, let's drive the price down. And I don't know, it's a broad accusation to make, but it would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? It would make a lot of sense because right now we are watching the news basically just completely ignore what is happening in the Web3 ecosystem if it's good, and they are completely ready to capitalize on it if it is negative. And we've seen this pretty extremely. We see news about SBF and the risk of being in crypto all the time. I see it constantly. But when we have someone like Amazon announce that they're going to be making literally a world-class movement into having their own digital / physical marketplace where you get NFTs with what you order. Listen, I know there's mixed opinions on that, but guys, that is innovation at its finest. This is really exemplary, and this is going to pave the way for better industries and I guess companies than Amazon. Maybe some smaller ones, maybe some people who can make it more inclusive to others. I'm not sure Amazon's going to do it perfect, but yeah, I mean, innovation like that is getting swept under the rug. I mean, I saw a great Yahoo article about it, but it was almost too positive, I think, for people to share it about and to tell everybody. So I just think it's crazy. I think the news at this point is obviously being altered a little bit or just not publicized when it can help this ecosystem. And the only reason I can think of is I think they're turning the boat around. I think they're turning the boat around and people want Bitcoin.
They are. Well, look at, again, we talked about this last week, me and Jay Chains. Look at Blizzard, right? It's no denying that they are the king of MMO gaming, right? If you look at their community size, it's larger by a landslide from any other community. It's not even close. I think they outweigh number 2 by like 40 or 50 million people. But here comes their president, and he's flooding the hell out of NFTs and crypto, and it's bad for gaming, and it'll never be a thing, and Blizzard will never participate. And then wham bam, thank you, ma'am, he's the CEO of Yuga Labs.
That's it. No, that's it.
Look.
And it's wild you even bring that up because that is where this is going, where everyone's just not even retracting their statements. They just pretend like they never said it. And it drives me crazy because there's no, aha, I told you so moment. We're never going to get that. We're almost never going to get that. And Jay Chains, I think that's one of the funniest parts about this is by the end when everyone is finally in this Web3 mode and people actually own their assets and companies are delivering products that allow their users to have more self-sovereignty. I don't even know if we're going to get that, hey, we told you so moment. I don't think that exists for us. Not at this rate.
No, we're fighting it. We're fighting it because look, he took the biggest community and flooded the shit out of this space. And then he turns around and joins one of the biggest projects in it and here comes a game, Dookie Dash.
Dude, think about the same thing with Jamie Dimon at Chase, right? Bitcoin, poison, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. The whole time, these guys are working like in the back end to squirrel and save as much crypto as they can. Like all of these major companies are just full of shit. It's all FUD to get you to sell your coins. Remember, so they can turn the boat around and pick up their buddies that forgot to get on the boat.
Here's what I say, Jay Chains. Do as they do, not as they say.
Absolutely.
Was the example that I vividly remember. He was even mad that his 17-year-old daughter had a Bitcoin back in 2016, publicly just coming out, just stating that, it'll never work. Chase, will never get into it. And yeah, literally at that time, he was saying that they were in the back end building up the damn thing, building up a,
Did we lose him or did I lose him?
and it was all part of the narrative to, again, bring that boat back. And Final Frontier, I like the way you stated it, like that their friends bring it back. And it really encompass all that's happening. Because all these exchanges, all these, folks at the top in this space that have the deep pockets, they all are in cahoots with one another. Once you start to get at higher tax brackets, higher price points in life, like you have fewer and fewer friends. So they now take a, they leverage one another. Oh, you own you own this famous crypto, newsletter platform. Let's go ahead and push some news out to bring things down. And mind you, while prices are falling, they're also shorting the market to add to their capital. And then once it gets to the price point that they want to enter at, they then enter there. And then obviously, once they filled up their bags, release the dogs, things start pumping. And so, like, I think at this point, it's almost 100% that this is actually happening.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait till Jay Chains gets to come out to the event with us. Not NFTLA, but the UCLA event. And when I tell you, you see all these institutions and corporate executives sitting there shaking hands, you're like, holy shit, they all know each other. It's like a friend party to them. And then it starts to make sense. Like, wow, here they come with some news, but I just saw them shaking hands in a VIP suite with this company. I know they're coming too, and then bam, they come out. So that's why it was no surprise with me when Google stepped into space, because I was speaking with their executives after I gave a performance on the stage. So that's why, I say hashtag something is coming, because I got to see a whole lot of shit happen in that VIP suite.
Boom, love that. Got a new PFP that I'm looking at in the Web3 fam today. drrobotnik.etc. Welcome to Web3 Breakfast. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? ETC is a typo. I'm too lazy to change it. It's supposed to be ETH, not Ethereum Classic.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you got an Ethereum Classic name, sir.
I was confused myself, but I went with it.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of you fellas, man, but I seen Web3, and I'm just on some time where I usually stay out of these type of spaces, generally because I just don't be agreeing with a lot of formats with the big spaces. But I'm digging the vibes here, man. I just wanted to come shout y'all out, man, see what's going on. Maybe I could chime in when I hear something. I just pulled up because I seen Zay and Goldfish here. So yeah, that's just what's going on. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Why I'm violating the code. GM, man. GM, man.
GM, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely, man. Tap in anytime.
I say good morning. I say good morning like a fucking dweeb, bro. GM, man.
Oh, it's all good, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, we thanks for pulling up. We do this show Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's called Web3 Breakfast. It's a show by the community for the community, man. So anybody that is in the crowd, you are more than welcome to come up here. All you got to do is request to speak, and you get your opportunity. We only have one rule. And it's just don't be a douchebag. So anybody is welcome to participate and be part of the fam. Just don't be a douche. That's it.
Hey, Jay Chains, I actually dropped some alpha in our private chat with me, you, and Turbo. We're coming. There's lots of things happening. We're gonna do something big with Win Media, and what we're working on is just a start. Look. Crypto Zay, J Chains, Maya Biz. Some powerful things are coming in 2023. Some big things are coming in gaming. Final Frontier and Win Media are going to be right in the middle of it. So I'm telling you, man, get those seatbelts buckled up and get ready for this roller coaster ride, because it's about to get insane. You know how many people aren't even talking about that we were featured in Time? We were featured in Men's Health and a couple of other outlets. I don't even talk about it because we're just continuously building. Like, I really don't even promote. It's just building, keep networking, keep building relationships. And it all works out as long as you keep the train moving forward.
Absolutely, man. I think that's, go ahead, Kenton.
I just to add, yeah, I was going to say, Ardo, the whole build thing, that's happening. And I wanted to share this. When I was in East Denver, there was a billboard, and it was really artistic because it said bull market, but they crossed out the bull and they wrote build, and they did it, kind of the wrong way with the L before, or the D before the L and everything. And I was like, oh, that's really creative. But the idea that we are in a build market, I know that people use that as sometimes copium, but I agree with you. I think that this is going to explode in our faces, like a ticking time bomb. I think it's going to go off before it even detonates. I think it's just going to, and we're going to be like, whoa. everybody understands that they need to be in Web3 now. And no, build market though, that sentiment, it's real. It's real. People are sincere about that. So yeah, it's not a joke, guys. I think that's exactly what we're in right now at this time.
Oh, just the opportunity is literally endless right now. If you just like, I don't know, get in where you fit in and do some things, man, I guarantee you your life is going to change, because this is everybody that is here right now is here because they want to be here. There's opportunities. You just got to do it, man. Like, don't wait around. Don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. This is the time to do it. Go ahead, Doc.
Hey, I was just gonna say, right, as a developer, right, like this what I do. Like if you like getting into code, and if you're listening, this is what I did and continue to do. Like I come in this space, right, I'll hear Final Frontier say, we're building out something, right? I might go inside my house and go build what he's talking about and shoot it to him and be like, hey, what you think about this? That might get me into the door of actually becoming a developer with Final Frontier. You get what I'm saying? So if you're building, you don't need something specific to build. Just listen to the space, see what's needed, see what people complaining about, go build it and ship it to people. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they'll hire you. They'll get you. They'll like, oh yeah, I need you on my team, man. You got this done. This fucking dev in India or Brazil took forever, charged me 90,000 and you got it right to me. And you build a relationship just like that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, look at this. And again, we talk about this every day because it's important, right? And I'll keep talking about it until people understand it. It's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to understand it. Google just rang the alarm bells. And if you aren't paying attention to it, you are going to miss something special. You know that their annual marketing budget, I think it was around like $25 billion.
That was with a B,
So
right?
imagine
A B?
Yes, that was with a B.
Yeah.
So imagine when they're ready to start promoting that they're in the gaming scene and that they're funding Solana nodes for gaming. And they decide to use a marketing budget bigger than what any game has even made or earned in this space. It's going to explode so fast. It's literally going to be like a Star Atlas moment. It will probably break one of these blockchains.
I mean, 200 billion. You're talking 20% of the whole market cap. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're worth a couple trillion.
No,
So they're 39 billion, or excuse me, they're 39 million that they just invested into Solana. That's literally sock money. It's like the lint in the bottom of their sock. Seriously.
mm-hmm.
And they're just
I noticed that I was explaining to folks that Apple had more cash on hand that they could buy the whole cryptocurrency market twice over. And that's one company in one country in this global thing. So keep that in mind for perspective.
And as you guys like start to think about that, like you're thinking Microsoft and then Apple. This is the dominoes, the Amazon. Like once in my opinion, guys, and we talked about this yesterday, right? Like at first, when you first glance at it, when you read that article where they said we're not worrying about people being able to handle their own assets, we're not worried about MetaMask, we don't care about seed phrases, all that stuff. At first, I was a little turned off at that, but I think we kind of turned this whole thing around because one, it gives people like me job security. Now I know that a company like Amazon is getting ready to bring. They got 168 million Prime users here in the United States. Let's just skim a little bit of that. Even if we got just a little bit of cream from there, right? That means that we're going to get a ton of people, fresh people coming into this ecosystem. They're going to reap those rewards. And when the word gets out how well Amazon is doing with that, every other company that is worth a damn is going to say, I'm in. I'm not going to miss the boat on this. And it is going to be, that is going to be the linchpin, the domino that will fall, that will be the catalyst for what we know as mass adoption. Remember, mass adoption is like, it's that elusive, weird word that we use out there that really isn't quantifiable, but it is going to be what it is.
J-Chains, I completely agree. I'm so happy you're saying this because, dude, yesterday, I know everyone was talking about the Amazon thing, and I heard people just being like, no, they're too big. They're going to ruin this. Guys, think about what this means. Now we have probably one of the biggest leaders in industry, frankly, at all. And they're basically coming out and saying, hey, this is going to be a new standard when you order something, you're going to receive a digital or a virtual version of it. And that is that is just major. I mean, we've spent the last couple of years bickering and disagreeing whether or not metaverses are going to make it. And now we have the world leader in shipping and, I guess server space with AWS saying, hey, now we're going to give you, your digital version with everything. Now, it's not everything. They're only launching this for a couple of products, but this is obviously the trajectory that they are on. And what this means is that other people will follow in those same footsteps. And this is great for consumers. Like, guys, think now we can get a digital version to represent ourselves from that merchandise or that product or the service, whatever it is, in the virtual world. And that's major. It gives us choice, it gives us options, and it makes all of our purchases more valuable. And that's what I'm like startled by it. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening already. Like we talked about mass adoption months ago as if this was going to take 5 more years. And that is not the case, obviously, like not anymore. So yeah, this is almost funny to me because I really do believe that there's going to be a day where we all wake up and all of our families are going to be like, oh my God, look at the news. It's that NFT stuff you talked about. We're going to be like, yeah, we knew this was happening. We knew
it. For sure. Especially from like ICO fellas, like mass adoption, we've been talking about that for a minute and how it would look like and what and who and like, hey, like Google coming in, that's just going to be massive and great. But frankly, it's a gradual thing. Just like how we didn't just start with iPhones to begin with for cell phones. Like you gradually went from one thing to another, and slowly but surely, we ended up to where we are now. Now, for us, we obviously kind of saw into the future way before most people did. But I think day by day, it is solidified that Web3, metaverse, I'll just say Web3 as a whole, all of these companies are coming into it and they're realizing that this is the shift that we're going into, which was accelerated by 2020, which honestly, could have been planned anyway. But anyway, I look at it as it's now solidified. Now you as an individual find your niche to take advantage of what's happening, because you can, especially folks that have existing skill sets, whether you're a UX, UI designer, all the way down to a marketing person. If you're interested in the Web3 space, you could still take that skill set and apply it. And now you have these massive companies that are coming in, which allows for more jobs, which these jobs have been, I think Amazon been hiring since like 2019 for their like Web3 department. So like just take advantage of it in different ways and not just like trying to find out what's the next project to buy per se. You could also do that too, but don't discount the skills that you already have, the skills you might have learned, or the people that you come across to go ahead and take advantage of this. But I did want to pose one question because we were talking about the coupling of all of these altcoins to Bitcoin. Now, I actually want to talk about the coupling of the Web3 market to the traditional stock market. Is it just purely emotional because the same persons are, trading on both? So if they're fearful on one, they become fearful on the other? Or
No.
is there like an actual connection there that has to be decoupled at some point?
There's an actual connection, and I'll tell you where the first one comes. It started when the institutions and corporations came in. Jay Chain spoke on it. They are beholden to their shareholders, right? They are beholden to take profits for their shareholders. And Tesla was the start of this with their Bitcoin. So when they sense that the traditional markets are going to go down, but they have profits on the crypto side, they will take those profits to cover the losses that are on the traditional side, right? That whether that's S&P or NASDAQ, whatever it may be. And so their profit taking was to show the shareholders how profitable Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was, because the little bit that they sold was worth more than all the Teslas they sold in 12 months. So that's one part of it. So what you're seeing is you're seeing dumping in this space to cover that side. But when you see that side dump, you're seeing this side dump because, well, now I need to remove what I have in Web3 to cover my traditional losses because I have shareholders that I'm beholden to. So I have to make it up to them somehow. And but also to add to that, what you're also seeing is the whales from those institutions and corporations stepping in the private channels. Why? You may not like Bill Gates, but he makes 1.27 million an hour. And that's not even being the CEO anymore. He makes 1.27 million an hour. So when I talk about the resources and the power that they have, I don't think a lot of people understand the magnitude of what that means. These people can literally change the flow and direction of a blockchain, of a project, of an NFT in a matter of minutes, because that's how much money they make. Look at phones. Every one of you who has a phone, what have you either ignored, removed from the phone, or indulged in? A game that came with it. Think about that first. A game that came with it. I don't care what kind of phone you have. When you bought it, it had a game installed in it.
Snake, baby.
And but that's how big gaming is going to be. The gaming guild is what institutions and corporations are focusing on because they understand our value to attract the gamers because of sense of belonging. We have Sarah Austin in here, one of the biggest sweethearts in the world. She has her own gaming guild now. She's the founder of Q Globe. She's the biggest blessing to Twitter, to Twitch. If you don't know her, give her a follow. She graced us as the presence on the cover of MetaPower magazine, and she's doing a lot of great things for the ecosystem. And she's very plugged in to everything that's going on, and she understands how powerful gaming is about to be. So, yeah.
GM Sarah, thank you for joining us. Thanks to everyone who's joined us. Guys, remember, if guys and ladies, if you do want to come up on stage, please feel free. Request to speak. This is a open community forum. Just remember, just one rule: don't be a douche. But anybody is welcome. Sarah, if you want to pop on up here, please feel free. Anytime. We do the show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So you are more than welcome. I do know you. I respect you in the space. Ardo, you are also one of those people. I am just so happy that you're a part of this community. You and I talked the other day, and we talk actually almost every single day at this point. And we're talking about gaming and how gaming is supposed to bring in, this critical mass. And I fully agree with you, right? Amazon, we're going to bring in a critical mass. Where I think the third part of our trifecta comes in, and and Ardo, I'm so sorry that I had to bone out on the space last night. Had some things come up at the house here, but music. I think the music industry, the gaming industry, and then whatever Amazon and the rest of these massive companies start to bring in. That's the three-legged horse, man. That's how we win the race.
Yeah, well, and so that's the mastermind of what Wagner's building with Star Atlas. It's a trifecta of real life gaming and music, right? Because behind a couple of their NFTs from the original launch, if you don't know Dead Mouse, real big DJ, wears the big mouse head. Well, he did a couple of the soundtracks for those augmented reality NFTs. In the future, once Star Atlas has their development done, they will have virtual concerts just like they had in Fortnite during the pandemic. If you own one of those Dead Mouse NFTs, that is your ticket into the virtual concert. Then there's decentralized employment, right? I need ships. You're a shipbuilder, so I'm paying you to build ships for me that I can take out and blow people's stuff away with. I need my resources mined on my land, but I don't have the time to mine. So I'm paying you to mine those resources for me. You build a Stargate to jump space. I need to use it and don't have time to actually do the flights through space. So I'm paying you to use your source to get me to where I have to go. Decentralized employment.
Doctor, what you got?
Yeah, hold on. My daughter just came in. I'm gonna try to talk real quick. All right, in terms of definitions, right? To me, like Web 1 was like a decentralized static means of transporting pages, right? Between nodes or machines, right? Web 2 was kind of like where we became the product, right? Where our data became harvested to the benefit of big tech or companies, right? And Web3 was like decentralized pages to be distributed where the data is owned by us. I am so bearish on big companies entering the space. I never look at Amazon, Nike, Reebok coming in and saying, oh, this is a good thing. I'm so happy. Because what's going to happen, in my personal opinion, is they're going to come in, they're going to get data, they're going to sell the data. We're going to become the product again. And it's kind of like the ethos of crypto and Web3, quote unquote, why I came in, is like the antithesis of big tech or Bill Gates or any other one of those people. So I just want to ask the panel, why does it seem like I hear people bullish on these big companies coming in, like they're actually going to come here with our best interests at heart?
Well, I don't think that they're coming with our best interest at heart. I mean, I agree with you. I think they're coming with profits and you know what we talked about a second ago. Like they have shareholders to respond to, and if they know that they could capitalize and make a shitload of money in this industry, they will. And let them. They can. They can do that. They literally have built the biggest platform for, you know, their ecosystem. What I was saying yesterday is this is the moment. This is job security for people like me. If you're a content creator, if you're an educator in this space, you just got job security because now you got millions and millions of people coming in. And it's like, I don't know, think of like the Blockbuster or the Best Buy doors as they open on Black Friday, right? When everybody just goes, I'm just going to go find a TV. People don't know what the fuck they need to do. So it's up to us to teach them. Like you could bring a horse to the water. Amazon is going to bring the horse to the water. We're just going to teach that horse how to drink. And I think that's the key takeaway from all of this is that now it is our job to really clean up our messaging, clean up this industry, clean up this ecosystem. That's one of my biggest goals is, you know, we talked about this in the beginning of the show was, you know, this perception that our industry has in mainstream media or like, you know, if, you know, I'm sure all of us have gotten a call from a mom, a grandparent, someone in your family that says, oh, how's your Bitcoin doing? I heard it's not so well, right? The perception is terrible. Well, the job is for us now is to clean this up and make the perception of this space well, how we see it, because I'll tell you what, I'm here every single day. I live and breathe Web3. I'll tell you what, I have a very, very positive experience. I know a lot of other people do too. That's the message we need to get out.
Well, if you've heard this term, if you build it, they will come. When Satoshi built it and it became a domino effect, right? Countries saw China and how much profit and power they were gaining from Bitcoin. I mean, there was a mining company there that they were selling, I think, an average between 9 to 11,000 Bitcoins a day for like a couple weeks straight. And then you started seeing governments get involved. Well, those governments come with lobbyists who are from institutions and corporations. They're seeing the profits, they're seeing the tech. And so they jump in the space. And so then it becomes about their profits. It becomes about a tech race. This is the new age tech race. With that, unfortunately, you have to learn how to swim with the whales because swimming against them is not in your best interests. We know they're not here for our best interests, but at the same time, we know it's not in our best interest to swim against them. That's why if you look at real whales in the ocean, there's fish that attach to them and swim with them, not just for the food they receive, but also for the protection they receive because they know it's in their best interest to stay and swim with the whales.
Right. And I think we could all take our lesson from Pinocchio. If I'm not mistaken, Pinocchio got swallowed by a whale. So don't get swallowed by a whale. Make sure that
was Jonah, man.
Mimi and Mimi and Web3, you had your hand up. GM.
Morning. How you doing? Thanks for having me up here, Jane.
Hey.
So yeah, I was just thinking about what this guy was saying. I'm sorry, I'm not quite following all the speakers at that time, but I remember years ago going to this kind of LA women entrepreneur group, and we were learning about SEO, and the lady leading the group was like, yeah, the next big thing is social media. And I was just kind of sitting there like, oh, okay, what does that mean? You know, not really thinking much about it. And years later, kicking myself because I think that was like 2006 or 2007. And I was just there because an old friend from high school invited me, but I was, you know, this young mom starting my family, not really doing a lot with business. But if I had been listening, I would have known to get involved with things like Facebook then, right then. And, you know, whether I was on board or not, it was going to grow. And that's where all the people were going. At the same time, I had a friend of mine that I had gone to school with. She started putting her content out on YouTube just as it was starting to explode. And she built her whole career on that. And she was doing the same stuff I was doing. She was starting her family. She was a young mother, but she had that insight to be where the action was when everything was taking off. And I mean, Jay Chains knows I'm kind of a noob. I call myself a tech Luddite. I'm not, you know, someone who understands coding or development. I am a very artsy type of person. But my husband, Mind Your Biz, is definitely, he's my educator, right? And he's the one who got me involved in Web3. And so my exposure was going to a conference in LA, meeting Jay Chains, meeting the altcoin Daily Twins. And I remember walking down the street, looking up at this big billboard with Giselle and SBF and going, who's that? You know, and that was my intro to Web3. But in the months since then, you know, I'm seeing how things are growing and that Web3 is now like that next frontier, and I'm all here for it. But, you know, you look at the Pareto distribution of how things like divvy up, it's inevitable that we're going to get these big companies in here. You can't fight that. That's always going to happen, but you've got to be there. You know, you can be, I think of like, if you've ever heard of like Stonyfield yogurt, I know this is kind of a random metaphor, but I remember watching an interview with this guy who he makes organic yogurt, and he was a total hippie. And when he partnered with Walmart, a lot of his friends were super critical of him. They were just like, oh, you know, you're bowing down to the man. How could you partner with Walmart? They're an evil corporation. And his response was, if I can get this wholesome, positive product to millions of people, as opposed to staying in my selective niche and only making it this selective product for the few people who get it and are in the know, then I don't consider that winning. To stay in my lane and ignore the opportunity of partnering with this large company. And now, yeah, you go to any grocery store and there you find Stonyfield yogurt. And I just think of it as the same way. Like there are some, I don't know if you want to call it a compromise, but like it's inevitable that the big money is going to come in, and you do have to partner with them. And you have more influence and exposure if you do. So I get the ideology of corporatism and its damaging effects, but I don't know. There's a middle ground somewhere, and I don't know. You can't push the ocean back. That's just my take on it.
No, you can. And I appreciate you and kind of, you know, the laying that out there, because there's a couple of things that I really liked from what you said.
Jay, I don't know if he's gone or not. I saw the error message. So I want to sure.
Hey, Kent, I don't think you could hear him.
You guys can't hear me?
Rugging.
Thank you.
I hear you.
Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you, Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
Google can hear you too.
They're gone there for a minute.
Yeah, no, I can hear you. Mimi, thank you so much for that. That was very interesting, and you can also look at it in real estate, right? People say all the time, oh, well, you know, these taxes and property tax and things like this. Well, look at it as kind of like in Web3, right? We didn't want the government stepping in with these stupid regulations, even though we know we need some sort of regulation. But look at housing. You're either going to pay your property taxes or you're not going to have a home. You're either going to pay a landlord or you're not going to have a home. And even if you buy your home outright and you have the deed to it, you still are going to pay your property taxes, or they're going to take that home, they're going to take that land, and then they're going to sell it for pennies on the dollar. So in essence, no matter what you do in life, you are still working with some higher power in the government or corporate world or institutional world or real estate world, you're still working with them. And it's just in your best interest to not swim against them. And even the ones at the top, they don't swim against each other. They figure out ways to work together, even when you think they don't.
Amen. Amen to that. Can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure everybody can hear me real quick.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was just me before Jay. My bad.
Oh man, no worries, no worries. Well, today was a great conversation. I think the more and more of these that we have, I think they're absolutely fantastic. So I do want to. I see we got Zay with his hand up. Anybody? Yeah, go ahead, Zay. And then anybody else that if you are down in the audience, you got anything that you want to contribute to the conversation, make sure that you request soon to contribute. So go ahead, Zay.
Yeah, appreciate you guys because you guys have like very similar perspectives to how I look at this whole space. I always thought that like the only way this thing would have been fair or for the people is if we had a total reset of the financial system. These companies have such deep pockets and influence over millions that we really can't move this space forward without them onboarding those millions and billions of people. I mean, Facebook alone have like 3 billion accounts. So like overall, I'm looking at it like, all right, they have to come in, but we know that their interest only lies with themselves, but they are bringing in the masses of folk. So just like how you stated, Jay Chains, I think it's at that point where now folks will have an alternative to move towards to. So for example, in Web 2, when we left MySpace, we went to Facebook, one centralized type of platform to another. Within this crypto space, if they are brought into this space, let's say via CBDC, well, now there's an alternative to that whole system in Bitcoin, for example, that now they can not only get a taste of the concept, but be able to figure their way or find their way to more and more information that may be beneficial for them. And now they'll be able to make their own decisions on what platforms, what type of assets, things of that nature that they get into. But I think for a lot of people, having a major corporation come in to this almost legitimize that system, that concept to those folks. And a lot of folks we know are really brand centric. So they'll follow what brands are really doing out there and then they'll jump into it. And that's completely fine because in anything, you're always going to have the early adopters like ourselves who see it in a different limelight versus folks or the masses that would have to be almost curated. Like the message has to be curated in the right way for them to understand that it's something new or beneficial or whatever the case may be. But all in all, I believe that it will legitimize things for folks. We might hear less and less about the scam thing with this whole space now that a more reputable company or reputable companies are coming in. And lastly, the development of easy on ramps or easy onboarding tactics. Like so many people go on Amazon to shop. If they constantly keep seeing things about NFTs on Amazon, then that will change their perspective on it and may even challenge them to go look deeper into the whole thing. So frankly, like, I think instead of just us, even Jay Chains with all that he does, just going out to even a friend and saying, "Hey, come check this out, come into the space," they will be a little bit more reluctant than if Apple, Google, Amazon, everybody else is promoting this across the airways. Then folks will be like, "Okay, let me look into this." So I think there is that happy medium of, all right, they'll bring the folks in. But we that are already in here educating, we ought to, like you said, Jay Chains, get our marketing stuff in order, get our, just overall collaterals in order so that we can educate the folks that are coming into the alternatives that exist in this space. That's all.
Mic drop, baby.
Look,
Love that. GM Wobblebug, go ahead.
Beardo.
Oh, hey, thanks. Actually, I think it's
Dr. Robot there had their hand up before me. They can go ahead there if they want.
That's so kind of you. Your call, Doc. Okay.
He might be dealing with his daughter.
He was with his daughter.
No worries, I can jump on then. But yeah, so I just wanted to hop up. I was actually going to just drink some coffee and listen to the chat. But so I've worked a bit around theory in the space there for about the last year and a half. And I mean, there's definitely good and bad things about big companies coming in. There is kind of like people have mentioned, it brings some credibility to the space. People are more comfortable getting something that's a big company with a track record than an NFT project they've never heard about that has something like Tickle Butts for the name, just for an example. I love that project, by the way. But so, I mean, there is the good part of that. There's the bad side that, yes, they do have a lot of money, but I think that they're not coming in as strong as people think. So think about like their core business models, like Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call them. I was tossed out there. I mean, they're all about data. That's where they make their money. We're talking about, decentralizing data so that it's open so people can get it for free. That's most of their money gone out the door right there. So I think that a lot of these businesses are actually in sink or swim mode, and they realize if they don't get wallets out there, if they don't find ways to restrict people's data so they can sell it, their businesses are going out the door.
I personally feel like if we don't get the same type of quarterly dividends that shareholders get, don't come in here and ask us for our ETH to help you build some shit that's not built out. Simple. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they want to come in here and get our money, have something built out and have a revenue stream for us, because they're not gonna violate their shareholders. So don't come in here and violate us. That's my biggest thing. Like, don't come in here and ask us for money and then don't be trying to return value straight up. Because I'm not going to support them projects. I don't care. I know the space is because numbers go up, money, people buy. That's how the space goes. I don't care what the volume is. I'm not buying from these big techs unless they really, really trying to give us value and not look at us as liquidity. Straight jacket.
So, Dr. Robotnik, that's Final Frontier. You want to take this one?
Well, now I was just going to say, look, when it comes to, the projects, right? When it comes to the projects and the organizations that are in this space, be mindful of how they do swim. And a lot of times they don't like to start things from scratch. And it's the only reason Meta is involved in this space, right? Because remember, the Winklevoss twins originally created Facebook and Zuckerberg stole it from them. They went after him in court. They were only given, a couple tens of millions of dollars after he had already made billions. And so they invested all of it into Bitcoin. Then they came out with their own organization in the Web3 space. He saw it as a competitor again and actually came for them again. And so it's the tech race again, right? And they even asked him why he shaped his hair like Caesar a lot. And he says because he wants to be like Caesar. Think of what that means. And but they will try to buy you out or they will shut you out. And we're actually facing that, right? We're one of the very few organizations in this space that got everything protected with our trademarks without one legal representation being involved. I did everything myself. And now someone is either trying to buy us out or shut us out because the USTPO comes back around and says, oh, well, hey, you aren't exercising your trademarks, so we want to take them from you. Look at the PFP, right? Look at the magazine, look at the website. The trademark is being exercised. And so I told them they could basically fuck off and I'll keep coming for them. Why? Because I will stand up. It's the same with what we did with the whole article that included, and it was the first time in decades that an Israeli and a Persian were in the same context and there was no political fallout over it. I took a big risk for this space doing that. And I took a big risk for those women, but their stories needed to be told. It takes people standing up and saying, I don't give a shit what you plan on doing. I'm going to stand up anyway and take those stripes on my back for everybody in this community. And I'll hop in other communities. I'll do it for Wobblebug. I'll do it for Win Media. I'll do it for Gaming FTW. I'll do it for Q Globe. I'll do it for everyone that shows me they're legitimately staying in the fight and for a good reason.
Yeah, and Dr. Robotnik, the other thing too is just I feel you. I wanted to say that I totally feel you on this. I think that there is a reason to somewhat fear big companies coming in. However,